Love stories come in all shapes and sizes, but have you ever heard one with wings? Today, we are telling the story of Jackie and Shadow, the eagle couple that's taking the internet by storm. Jackie and Shadow aren't just any eagles. In fact, they are superstars in the bird world, which is a weird flex, but it's still a pretty cool flex. Nesting in Big Bear Lake in California, Jackie and Shadow have been live streamed to hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people through a dedicated eagle cam, allowing the world to witness their daily lives in breathtaking detail. Right now, they are happily living, taking care of their 2 newborn eaglets. Now, while that's pretty awesome, getting to this point was not smooth sailing, and in fact, it has been a tale of survival, of kind of soap opera level drama, and fascinating eagle science. They have captured millions of hearts with their fierce devotion, their struggles, and their incredible bond. And their story isn't just about romance either. It's also a window into the secret and fascinating world of bald eagles. So what makes Jackie and Shadow so special, and what can we learn from their tale of resilience and love? Well, let's talk about it. Of this couple, Jackie was the first to arrive at this nest, and she flew in fall of 2017. We officially named her just a few months later in December. Now, here is where things get a little dicey. Jackie first bonded with a different male eagle, one known as Mr. B. Jackie and Mr. B hatched 2 chicks together. Their names were Stormy and BBB, short for Big Bear Baby. Obviously. Unfortunately, though, only Stormy survived, but he did go on to worldwide fame and left Big Bear Lake once he was old enough to thrive on his own. Then, in summer 2018, an intruder arrived at the nest, a tenacious young male eagle who refused to leave, despite Jackie and Mr. B's repeated attempts to chase him away. Turns out, this was Shadow, and he was determined to make this nest his home and make Jackie his love. Over time, Shadow held his ground and he refused to back down, and eventually Mr. B faced him in a non-violent showdown, which sounds a little anticlimactic, but hey, eagles do enough cool stuff, I'll let this one slide. After trying to reclaim his place but failing to dislodge the determined newcomer, Mr. B took off and was never seen again. As for what happened to him after that, we don't know what became of him, and if you ask me, the whole story with Mr. B is kind of a bummer for him, so I do hope he's made a good life for himself somewhere else. Anyway, soon after this debacle, Jackie and Shadow began their long and beautiful tale of love. Jackie accepted Shadow as her new mate, and the two have been inseparable ever since. And as a quick aside, if you're wondering how to tell them apart, Jackie is the larger of the two, as is typical for female bald eagles. She's got a broader, more pronounced beak, while Shadow is smaller and sleeker. Together, these two have battled through ruthless storms, nest intruders, and the heartbreak of losing many eggs and even eaglets. Still, through it all, they have created families, and they've even had 2 eaglets that have grown to become fully fledged and fly from the nest. These birds are named Simba and Spirit, and this year, Jackie and Shadow are raising a family once again. All while proving why bald eagles are some of the most resilient and fascinating creatures in the animal kingdom. Now, we all know that bald eagles are iconic symbols of power and freedom, but there is actually much more to them than just their striking looks. For example, did you know that bald eagles can reach speeds of up to 100 miles per hour in a dive? Or that their grip strength is 4 to 7 times stronger than a human's? They also have incredible eyesight, 4 to 5 times sharper than a human's, and it allows them to spot prey from over 2 miles away. And as you probably noticed, bald eagles aren't actually bald, rather they have strikingly beautiful white feathers on their heads. These feathers develop as they reach adulthood, typically around 4 to 5 years old, which I thought it was interesting that it takes them so long to grow in these iconic feathers. Now, perhaps what is my favorite fact about eagles is that they are one of the few species in the animal kingdom that mates for life. Once a pair of eagles bond, they return to the same nesting site every year and reinforce their connection through elaborate courtship rituals, including sky dances where they lock talons and spiral toward the ground. So Jackie and Shadow are probably mates for life, and this is kind of a bummer for Mr. B, the other eagle, but we're just not going to talk about that. As it would turn out though, life as an eagle isn't just soaring majestically into the sunset and doing epic mid-air dives. It's actually a constant fight for survival. Going back to Jackie and Shadow, their journey hasn't been easy. They have faced brutal winter storms, aggressive rival eagles trying to take over their territory, and the heartbreaking loss of multiple eggs. Since forming their bond in 2018, the two eagles have laid multiple clutches of eggs, and hardly any have been successful. For example, in 2023, Jackie laid 3 eggs, but sadly, none of them hatched. It was a devastating moment, not just for the pair of eagles, but also for the thousands of people that had been watching and rooting for them. But here's what's incredible. They didn't give up. Instead of abandoning the nest, they reinforced it. Instead of leaving, they stayed together, calling out in unison as if to say, "We will try again." And that resilience is exactly part of what makes bald eagles so successful in the world. Despite once being on the brink of extinction due to DDT pesticide poisoning in the mid-20th century, conservation efforts brought them back, and their population has soared from just 417 nesting pairs in the 1960s all the way to over 71,000 nesting pairs today. And Jackie and Shadow are proof of that amazing comeback. Now, there is something deeply human and deeply inspirational about watching Jackie and Shadow. Maybe it's the way they stand by each other, even in failure. Maybe it's how they never stop trying, no matter how many hardships they face. Or maybe it's because they show us that love, partnership, and perseverance aren't just human traits. They're part of nature and the world itself. This year, Jackie and Shadow's wish finally came true. They laid 3 eggs and all 3 hatched. Baby eagles are called eaglets, which is adorable. Unfortunately though, not all was smooth sailing from here. Following the aftermath of a brutal winter storm just a few weeks ago, we discovered that one of the eaglets did not survive. As awful as this is, I do think it's moments like this that make Jackie and Shadow's story so compelling. We've seen them grieve, we've seen them suffer, and it makes it all the more special and inspiring when they do succeed. The best things in life often don't come easily, and so Jackie and Shadow are a constant reminder to keep your head up and keep trying. Now, Jackie and Shadow are continuing to care for their 2 chicks, and if you want to keep up with the eagle family, go ahead and check out their live camera. You can find it by searching Big Bear Bald Eagle Camera 1. Also, before we go, can we just take a minute to acknowledge Mr. B? I mean, he got broken up with, kicked out of his nest, and then his ex became famous. That's rough, man. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe down below so that you can keep learning about nature and science. And I'm curious, let me know in the comments, what's one of the most incredible animal stories that you've ever heard? I visited a wildlife rehabilitation center several months ago, and it was still one of the most memorable and special experiences because I really got to see how the animals had so much personality and resilience. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.